I'd like to call the meeting to order, and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Allen.
Present.
Councilmember Hagenow.
Present.
Councilmember Kerr. Here. Councilmember Martin.
Present.
Councilmember Parmet.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Here.
Mayor Riley.
Present.
There are 7 members present.
Thank you. And for those of you who are attending online, even those in the audience that are here today, I'd like to apologize on behalf of the council for us eating. Our work session ran significantly over. In fact, it didn't end until about 6:50. So we are catching up as we're going, so please forgive us. With that, can I have approval of the agenda? Councilmember Sullivan?
Yeah, second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The agenda is approved. The next item on the agenda is a proclamation that's in your package, and I'll turn it over to the town manager.
Okay, if we can, Connor, can you come up here? I would like to introduce, this is Connor Green. He is the new director of mountain operations for Keystone Resort, Connor Town Council. As anyone who has skied any resort other than Keystone this year knows, there is just absolutely no question as to the only place still in Colorado that it's worth going to ski. And that's Keystone Resort. Their coverage is the extensiveness of the trails open, the coverage on those trails. The hill has been kept in incredible condition in our worst snow year in recorded history. So Councilmember Hagenow actually came up with the idea at the Christmas party that we should recognize the hard work that particularly the mountain operations team put into it, because if we hadn't had their hard work, all our businesses would be suffering. All our residents would be in that very unhappy state we get when it's winter and we can't get out and ski. So our town clerk drafted a proclamation on behalf of the council, and I will read it out entirely. A proclamation, Town of Keystone, Colorado. A proclamation of the mayor and town council recognizing the Keystone Resort Mountain Operations Team. Whereas the town of Keystone is a community whose spirit, economy, and identity are deeply intertwined with the vitality of Keystone Resort and the mountain environment that surrounds it. And whereas the success, safety, and enjoyment of the Keystone Resort experience depend on the unwavering dedication, expertise, and resilience of the mountain operations team. And whereas the beginning of the 2025-26 winter season brought unusually limited snowfall, creating significant operational challenges for maintaining safe, enjoyable, and accessible terrain for residents, visitors, and businesses alike. And whereas the Keystone Resort Mountain Operations Team, through exceptional dedication, expertise, and tireless effort, work day and night to preserve skiable terrain, manage snowmaking operations, maintain lifts and trails, and ensure the resort remained open and thriving despite difficult conditions. And whereas the team's commitment not only sustained the guest experience, but also protected the livelihoods of countless workers, supported local businesses, and upheld the economic stability of the entire town during a season when many mountain communities faced hardship. And whereas the mountain operations team's resilience, innovation, and professionalism exemplify the collaborative spirit that defines Keystone and strengthens the bonds between the resort and broader community. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the mayor and the town council of Keystone, Colorado do hereby honor and celebrate the team's achievements, honors their commitment to excellence, and express gratitude for their essential role in sustaining the heart and spirit of our mountain town. Issued this 13th day of January, 2026. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
And we'll get a nice framed copy.
Yeah. No, it means a ton. Yeah. If I can't say something, it means a ton. It's been a tough season for all of us here in Keystone, but just Summit County, all the mountain communities abroad in Colorado, and just the Mountain West in general. And we're really, really proud of what we've done this winter at Keystone, especially with our mountain operations, but as the resort as a whole. And yeah, we feel really good about where we're at right now. I wish we were skiing Powder and Erickson and Indy Bowl right now, but you know, having everything open to the outback, having all of our restaurants open, both base areas, it's a lot to be thankful for. So appreciate this, and yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Great holiday.
Can I have a motion?
I would like to move. I would like to move to approve the proclamation regarding the Keystone Mountain Resort Operation Team as presented by the town manager.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Of all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried unanimously. Next item is the Communications Council, and again, we have an opportunity for community to come forward and speak to us. If you would like to speak, please step up to the podium or raise your hand online. State your name, where you live or work, or your connection to Keystone, and you have 3 minutes. Would anyone like to speak?
Good evening. Thank you for this time. My name is Winnie Weiner. I am the current president of the Summit Cove Elementary Parent Teacher Student Association. I'm new into this role, but it's a very exciting time to be here. Exciting, but a little scary. I'm not sure how many people know about the potential school consolidations within the county. There's certainly a lot of talk going on, and we are just here as the Parent Teacher Student Association to encourage that Keystone get involved and become a loud member in this cause. We believe that our students as well as teachers benefit a lot from Keystone. We have so many families as well as teachers that live not only in Keystone but up in Montezuma, and we feel that our school is really important to this community. As a newly formed town, I think you should grab hold of that and encourage you to make sure that the district knows how important our school is. It's our understanding right now that it's a declining enrollment rate that is spurring a lot of these potential closure issues. I personally feel that among the ratings that have come out so far, Summit Cove is one of the better schools to keep. One of the reasons is one of the least amount of deferred maintenance. So it's a newer school, it's a better facility to start with. There's a couple other schools that are struggling pretty significantly. And if you look at just the deferred maintenance on those, I'm not an accountant, but it doesn't really make sense to keep those alive when we have such a great opportunity right here in Summit Cove. Also, I think with the Cove, the expansion potential, like they have a good plot of land, there's more room to use, there's space to grow. There's a lot of other schools, I think they noted, Frisco, Breck L, and Dillon Valley are all very built out to the max. They can't really expand or do much else. So I think the Cove is in a really good position, but right now we need your help, and that's the biggest thing. Like I said, I'm with the Parent Teacher Student Association. We've also very recently formed, like our first meeting is tomorrow night, the Summit Cove Coalition of Concerned Parents. So we're meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Kala to just meet as a group and form. We want to be able to create a unified message that we can bring to the school district, to the board, and to this master planning committee that is ultimately going to be making a lot of decisions for us. So I would encourage all of you to come tomorrow night to the call. If not, feel free to share your information with me and I can at least include you in emails. But thank you for your time tonight and I appreciate all that you're doing.
Thank you.
How do we reach you? Email?
SCEPTSA.
Do it again.
Say that again.
SCE, Summit Cove Elementary, PTSA@gmail.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And later I'll have a update from the mayor manager's meeting and the discussion. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Heather Wood. I'm also with the Summit Cove PTSA. And I was also a business owner and property owner here in Keystone for 15 years. I was one of the founding partners at Cornerstone Real Estate. And one of the reasons that we think that it's really important that you as members of the town council here in Keystone participate and get engaged in this school consolidation conversation is that there is a lot of real estate on this side of the county that is attainable for locals. We know that Keystone is primarily a resort market, at least in the base area. But with the Wintergreen neighborhood, you've got a lot of affordable housing there where local families, including a lot of our teachers and students that go to our school, are living. And then now that Keystone Ranch has eliminated short-term rentals, there's always been a number of families that have lived out there, but there's more that are drawn to that area because there are not short-term rentals allowed in most of the Keystone Ranch HOA. And so we think that because of that, it's really going to have an impact on real estate in this end of the county if Summit Cove closes down. We've also got Montezuma, which is impacted by this potential school closure. And one of the big risks that we're facing is that of the options that they have with school consolidation, closing Summit Cove is the only option that they can do in fall of 26 without any construction. And basically they would close it and move the students from the Summit Cove school currently to 3 other elementary schools. And so any families in Keystone would be going to Upper Blue, Frisco, and Silverthorne, I believe. Yeah, and so that would leave a big, transportation situation for people on this side of the county. And so we would just encourage you to get engaged, whether it's with us through the PTSA or in conversation with Dr. Bird and the school board. And, we know that he's met with some of the other mayors and maybe Mr. Riley, you were part of that, I'm not sure. Or maybe he has a meeting scheduled with you in the future.
We had an in-depth discussion on this topic last week.
Wonderful. So yeah, we'd just like to encourage you guys to stay involved with it. And we really would like to have the town council, and if you know of any businesses or, contacts with the resort who would like to partner with us there are businesses and, town partnerships going on in Frisco and Breckenridge that are really encouraging those schools to stay open. And we feel like we need that same sort of involvement on this end of the county. Thank you.
Is there anyone? Yeah.
My message comes as a bit of a thank you to the board. Lindsay Hirsch was instrumental in terms of getting this fire mitigation program together, which obviously encompassed 30 acres around here, which included Vail Resorts, the conference center, again, the property here. I'm over at St. John. My name's Neil Chamberlain. I'm on the board. So we worked together. We were able to get this thing operating. One of the issues that has certainly been a thorn in the heel of many of the developments around here is the idea that it's difficult to get insurance, as we all know. And we didn't find out of probably 50 insurers that would be eligible to take and supply us with insurance. We had one effectively come to our doorstep. and give us, you know, somewhat of a reasonable insurance policy. It took 3 or 4 months of phone calls. We finally had one insurance company that cared enough that they sent an inspector who came in and looked at our place inside and out. And one of the problems that I believe the entire area, Summit County in general, is that it's difficult to get, let's say, human beings from some of these insurance companies to come in and actually do the homework. So they know what kind of work you've done. And obviously we've done a very extensive amount of fire mitigation. But out of probably 50 to 75 that we've been in contact with, one insurance company was willing to send a representative, come in, take a look at our property and offer us a reasonable package of insurance. One of the things that at least we found in our experience was that even after doing all this fire mitigation work, we effectively still had a fire mitigation rating of 88 out of 100, which comes from a number of sources, but this one source was CoreLogic, who supplies information to a number of these insurance companies. And again, those people make decisions based on that number. Those are, from what I understand, those are more drone flyover, but certainly not visited by any representative that would see what you've been doing. So make a long story short, want to thank you very much for the participation. It worked out well for all of us. And we hope we continue in this vein. But again, if you have, again, sources perhaps with the Colorado Bureau of Insurance, or again, people in high places in Colorado, you might mention the idea that, again, these unfair ratings still are holding back a lot of developments from, again, getting the insurance that they need to keep living around here reasonably affordable. So again, thank you for the help.
Thank you.
For point of information, I guess, high number bad, high number good for rating.
High number bad.
Thank you.
And the state legislature has taken some steps regarding getting credit for mitigation and those sort of things that are supposed to be considered in the next year. Although that's a tip of the iceberg, it's a much bigger problem. It's not just Keystone. And it's really been on my radar. I've had discussions with Senator Hickenlooper about it. It's a statewide government, even a federal issue. And I know the state legislature is working that hard, particularly Senator Roberts. All right, next item. Is there anyone online? No one online. In that case, I'll declare the communications to council portion closed. And we now have the consent agenda. Is there any item anyone would like to remove from the consent agenda? If not, can I have a motion to approve it? Motion to approve.
I second.
Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Next item is the second reading of ordinance 2025-0-21. And at this point, I'd like to ask the town clerk to please read the title into the record.
Ordinance 2025-0-21, an ordinance of Town Council of the Town of Keystone, Colorado, prohibiting the use of gray water and the installation of gray water treatment works within the Town of Keystone.
At this point, I'll declare the public hearing open, and the procedures that we will follow are the town manager will give us an introduction into the ordinance. Council members will then ask questions of the town manager. Following those questions, we'll open the hearing to public comment. The council will not respond or answer questions as part of that public comment. But at the end of the public comment, we'll close public comment and again, open the floor to the council to ask questions or get clarifying information from the town manager. Following that, we'll close the public hearing and we will, at that point, deliberate on the ordinance. At this point, then, could you please give us a presentation, Mr. Town Manager?
Yeah, this was brought about as a result of a state law that went into effect January 1st, which basically enables any sort of gray water installation. And gray water is water that's basically gone through one of your drains somewhere, or is even rainwater for that matter to an extent, although rainwater is covered by a whole bunch of different things here. But it's basically any water that's gone through your drain. The new state law enabled anyone to put in any sort of gray water system without local authorization or approval in any way, unless the local jurisdictions opt out. You can opt out in the entirety, or you can opt out certain specific types of gray water use. Our ordinance that was drafted by our town attorney opts us out of gray water use in its entirety. Now, approving this tonight does not mean we cannot readdress this in the future and call out specific exemptions where gray water is safe and makes sense in our community. But given the state law, we needed to take action sooner rather than later and didn't have the time to hash out all the details of the hazards, the benefits of gray water systems, which we can bring forward in the future. So this is a complete opt-out from the allowance of gray water systems in Keystone, Colorado. Any questions for me or for our attorney, or does our attorney have anything she wishes to add?
Only that I think that this ordinance really maintains the status quo prior to January 1. The state regulations related to gray water required municipalities to opt in to allow gray water systems. Keystone hadn't opted in. Summit County in this area before Keystone was incorporated hadn't opted in. So essentially, we're just maintaining that status quo that gray water systems are not permitted at this time, as town manager explained.
Councilmember Hagenhoff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick question, right? And I presume not, but as I think about the low snowpack we had this year, I am anxious about next summer and the potential for fire hazard. Does this prohibit the use of gray water potentially stored on site for any kind of firefighting practices if there was a need for it? Because I know those sprinkler systems, right, are becoming really popular.
It prohibits the gray water systems from being installed. So it's the systems. I'm not familiar with how that would be stored for purposes of firefighter suppression. Sure. So I don't know that I can answer your question.
And while I don't think it's an issue, I think it's just something to keep front of mind that if people are starting to install these firefighter systems, like maybe we have meant this, but I personally don't think that there's anything to be concerned about now. And I think I'd rather get it in place now and adjust as needed.
A question as well. So, right, we opted out. What's the mechanism if someone wants to say put in a system to start watering the golf course with gray water or something? Do we have a process to do that, or do we have to look at the entire ordinance to revamp it? So
Golf course isn't part of the town.
What's that?
Golf course.
Well, yeah, I'm just.
Parts of it are.
Yeah. Or so they want to water their yard with gray water by this great system that they have. What is the mechanism to do that? Because we've said no to all of it. So how do we readdress this in the future if it makes sense, or if there's particular things that come up that,
It actually would follow the same path that we would have had to follow before the state law was passed, which is someone would have to come to the town council and ask for an ordinance allowing such a use. And at that time, the council would consider whether that type of system was a safe and practical use for the town.
Are there any other questions? All right. With that, I will open public comment. And if you'd like to make a comment, please step forward, state your name, where you live, work, or your connection to Keystone. And please provide your comments regarding this ordinance. And if you're online, please raise your hand. Is there anyone who'd like to speak on this? Anyone online? No? That I will close the public comment period and turn it back for one last time for any further questions of staff, or if staff has any further comments they'd like to make.
Just a real quick question. Has anybody approached us at all of anything like this? Okay, thank you.
point of order. You know, once again, we had the huge environmental impacts in our comprehensive plan, and water issues in the West are becoming more and more of an issue, right? And so smart use of water may be something worth addressing at this time. I know we were kind of rushed through this, but there'd be some point where I'd love to hear what some of the advantages could be for businesses that work here or for the environmental impact that we have. Because I think we kind of rushed through, and the only thing that I didn't hear, or the only thing I heard on it was, I think we pulled up on our phone and said, oh, gray water's this, this, and this. It's not good, and we moved on. So I know we've kind of moved through this pretty quickly, but I'd be curious to hear, you know, why the state did it and what kind of benefits that we could potentially reap from having a good policy that conserves water.
Mayor, can I make a comment?
Yes.
So in researching this and looking at this, I don't know if I'd found this by the time we had our meeting in November, but I had looked at other communities that were evaluating whether to opt out of this gray water use system. And one of those communities was Boulder. And I'm sure you all know that Boulder is, you know, very environmentally minded. And they have a staff, a large staff, and their water resources group, or some group dedicated to this type of issue, really studied it, evaluated it, and came to the recommendation to opt out. And one of the comments that they had is that really the water conservation benefit of this type of system is very small. That there isn't a significant benefit. I'd be happy to share their report with council so that you can see what they put together. But they've ended up opting out.
Member Kerr.
I support opting out right now, but the reality is the systems will get better and the water issue will become more dire. So the only question I might have is when we get to that opt-in point, and it's probably because a specific developer or redeveloper has come to us for that. Is there any, political ickiness about saying, oh, now that it's you, we're going to say, okay, how do we deal with that?
I don't think so. I think, the way you deal with it is by
Clarifying the difference.
addressing the proposition on its merits.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments? With that, if there are no other comments, I will ask for a motion. Councilmember Sullivan,
I move to approve ordinance 2025-021, prohibiting the use of gray water and the installation of gray water treatment works within the town of Keystone.
is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Hearing none, I will call the question and please ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Allen,
Approve.
Councilmember Hagenow,
Approve.
Councilmember Kerr,
Approve.
Councilmember Martin,
Approve.
Councilmember Parmet,
Yes.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Approve.
Mayor Riley.
Approve.
There are 7 votes to approve.
Thank you. The next item is Resolution 2026-03, a resolution of the Town Council, Town of Keystone, authorizing license agreement between Town of Keystone, Vale Summit Resorts, along County Road 4. And with that, I'll turn it over to the town manager.
Okay, this is two of the buildings in the stables encroach into the town right of way and pretty much have forever. This is a license agreement that would allow them to continue to use those buildings and not have to get them out of our property. I will let our community development director kind of explain the history behind it a little, and then I'll let our town attorney explain what exactly this license agreement is and the risks and benefits of entering into such an agreement.
So with that, I had the pleasure when I worked for the county of working on this property to try to resolve this issue for somewhere between 2 and 3 years. Absolutely ridiculous. Basically, as the town manager indicated, there are 2 buildings that do encroach off their property now onto our property. I believe the office building does maybe have some historical significance. It may have been the stage stop. At any rate, this is a very, very logical way to remedy this issue. I will say that my discussions, when I did work for the county, Vail Resorts was very good to work with regards to, there was a lot of other structures and materials in our off property, and they have cleaned up the property very well with regards to that issue. But the 2 remaining encroachments are buildings, and they've been there for a very long time. And basically what this license agreement does is, and I don't want to overstep, I'm going to pretend I'm a lawyer, but basically it really outlines the rights and responsibilities of both parties. I mean, it's an oversimplification, but basically that is what this license agreement does. And it's a very logical way to address this issue. The county, just for a little bit more background, was trying to figure out how to vacate the right of way and for that to remedy the issue. This is a much more logical remedy. So staff is, unless you have questions about the license agreement itself, staff is recommending the council approve the resolution with the attachment or the exhibit, which is the license agreement that authorizes the town manager to sign and execute.
I'd like to hear from the town attorney why we should do this.
Well, I think it's in the best interest of the town. This is something that happens pretty frequently in communities. It's discovered that, oh no, the house has been built on town right away. And this is just as Lindsay mentioned, this is a way to remedy that situation. Essentially what the license agreement does is it allows the continued occupation of these structures on town right of way. It says that the licensee must maintain that property. It can't extend, the property can't build more structures onto the right of way. And that if there's any issues, any accidents or anything like that related to the occupation of that property on the right of way, that the licensee is responsible. If we didn't have that provision in place, then it's possible that the town could have liability for any accidents that exist in the town right away. So it is really saying that the licensee, Vail Resorts, is responsible for maintaining and any liability for this. The term, we can end the term of this license agreement within 30 days. And then they have to get all of their structures off of the property, put the property back to the way that it would exist before without these structures. So really, there's no harm to the town to enter into this agreement, only a benefit.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Just a question. Of the right of way we're giving up, is it any use of that we would ever perceive that we would want? I mean, I understand the liability, they're going to take that, great. Is there any use of that? Or what are we giving up?
We're a notice period, actually, because we're not giving up right of way. We can cancel this license and make them move their encroachment.
But there's no perceived use.
And not at this
At all.
So, again, I happen to be very painfully familiar with this. For whatever reason, my recollection is this right of way was the old State Highway 6. Anyway, it has the alignment has some historical significance. The road itself isn't centered in the right of way. It happens to be on the northern portion of the right of way. So there is more than enough room for, say the widening of the road. There's more than enough. So it's not needed is the short answer.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Martin.
Is Vail viewing this as part of our good working relationship with each other as we are moving forward on lots of items in the future?
I would hope so. I've received, especially from the director of, what is it, Valley, and what is Mark Kimball's title?
Of course, Director of Hospitality, Food and Beverage or something?
Yeah. He's very thankful and happy that we're considering this.
It's a wonderful gesture of working cooperatively. I hope it continues.
Senior Director.
Councilmember Higginbotham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of questions. The map, I'd like to believe that I am understanding this correctly. So if you're holding it with Exhibit A at the top, the shaded portion of the road and the building encroaching upon this other parallel line to the road is the one in question.
Correct.
Perfect. Thank you. So while I totally understand the liabilities removed from us for Vail Resorts, how does the agreement talk about any third-party operators or any other parties that may operate those buildings in the future that might not be Vail Resorts? Hypothetical, Vail Resorts outsources their stables operations to John's Horse Company. Does John's Horse Company now also hold that liability instead of the town?
No, unless Vail puts that on the horse company.
So, but it would still be on Vail, not on the town. So regardless of whoever Vail chooses to operate that building and that operation, the town is not liable for anything that happens there.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And is there any possibility that, like, I think squatter rights here, and I don't know too much about squatter law, but is there any possibility that Vail can claim ownership to that parcel of land after owning or operating on it for X number of years?
Not against the government. Those laws don't apply.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions? Councilmember Allen.
One quick one. So I think that the social capital that we talked about with Vail Resorts is good, partnering. Is there any issues with the optics on that so someone else has something in the right of way, and hey, you did this for them, kind of thing, just in the consistency phase, or is that,
As far as, as far as we know, we're doing this not because it's Vail Resorts. We're doing this because it's the right thing to do in this situation, especially given the very historic nature of the structures and the serious risk of damage if we did make them move it. But it's, I don't think there would be an optics issue. And if someone came to us with the same sort of situation or any encroachment situation, we'd have to look at it through individual specific to that issue and make the decision.
So I think what you're asking is, does this set any kind of precedence on how we look at these? The answer is no. What it does do is it resolves the issue, number one. But two, we look at these things on a case by case basis, and every situation is different. So it's something to worry about.
Yeah, and we're not doing it because it's Vail Resorts. We're doing it because it protects the town and it's not, it doesn't really cost the town.
this is all good to get on the record, so thank you.
And I think if you were to look at how the Keystone has developed over the last 50 years, this isn't the only area where there is right-of-way issues. There are some significant issues in other areas that I'm not sure, I don't think they impact buildings per se, but there are other issues, and it'll just, if they come up, that'll be just incumbent upon us, as the town manager said, to consider them on an even basis on their merit. Like the town manager, I believe, in this case, this is the right thing to do. And as we're going forward. Any other questions? All right. If there's no other questions, can I have a motion? Councilmember Sullivan.
I move to approve resolution 2026-03, authorizing the town manager to sign a license agreement between the town of Keystone and Vail Summit Resort on County Road 4, also known as Soda Ridge Road, to address historic structural encroachments associated with the stables parcel.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Hearing none, I'll call the question. And all those in favor, please raise your hands. All those opposed? The motion is carried. The next item on the agenda is planning matters. And with that, I'll turn it over to the town manager.
Community Development Director, anything that we didn't discuss in the first 2 hours of the meeting?
No, that's pretty much going to occupy my next 6 weeks. Thank you. Now we are getting smaller scale planning applications. We expect the Kindred plat to come in any day now. So business as usual from the current planning side of it. But we are going to do a very strong push for the comp plan.
May I ask a question, Mr. Mayor?
Absolutely.
As we look at Kindred, right, there's obviously been delays in opening there. And I know when several of us have had the opportunity to tour that space and meet some of the management there, I guess what I'm trying to get at here is the Kindred is going to be a rather large tax opportunity for us and revenue source, right? And an advancement for the town as a whole, not only that property. Do you know of any blockers or any issues that we as the town could possibly support or advocate for? Or has there been any issues that you know of that we could help with to ensure that successful opening of that asset for town?
I'll do it. We are in constant contact with the developers. And we're doing everything we possibly can to follow the rules, but also be available to facilitate the opening.
We've worked with the county building department to find
Solutions.
various solutions, way to
Process them.
process the COs, tier the COs without, the most important thing is we cannot in any way, once again, it's safety.
Yep.
We're not trying to allow anyone to cut any corners and get anything open when it's not safe to do so.
Perfect. And for on the record, like Councilmember Allen said, I think we would do that for any
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
property that was having as significant as an impact in Keystone as this property hopefully will.
Have they shared any more information about the opening date?
Yes.
With me.
Okay.
I don't know if it's.
I'll let the
Okay.
town manager.
I didn't know if anything was public.
Sure.
The only information I have, and I got it, or Jess and I got it today, is the first closing for one of the condos is scheduled for Friday. I don't know how
Yeah.
that plays into it.
In other words, it's close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's,
it has continued to slip as they're over the last couple of weeks, but I think it sounds like they're narrowing that down.
Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember.
this project started with the county. And my question would be, what permitting and or inspections belong to the town versus the county at this point going forward?
That's actually the easiest question I've had all night. Basically, as you're aware, we contract out with the county building department. They do all the building code inspections. As far as the town's responsibilities, we are transitioning. It's quite interesting, actually. Because the property started with the county, there was bond money put in place for the improvements, the hardscape, the landscaping. And we are currently working with the county to release that money, and ultimately the town will end up with a bond amount to cover anything that needs to be covered. As of right now, I'm under the understanding that it'll only be landscaping. So a fairly minimal amount of bond money will be needed. We will do an inspection next spring and then release some of the money, but we hold half the money for 2 years.
Good, thank you.
Let me ask a leading question. Is it correct the town has total responsibility for all inspections and building permitting associated with Kindred today? And we exercise that through our contractor, Summit County?
Yes, that is true.
Any other questions? All right. Do I have a motion on the floor? I think we have a motion on the floor. Am I correct?
For what?
nope, this was planning matters.
Oh, this is, never mind.
Right.
With the detailed discussion, I couldn't go a whole meeting without one of these, so. All right. All right. Mr. Town Manager, report of the town manager and staff.
Okay, I'll try to get through this quickly. Public Works right now, we're working on what I call our sign program. This is not wayfinding. This is speed limit, safety signs, noise ordinance signs, issues like that. Things like the speed limit sign that tells you what speed you're going. We're figuring out where we're going to put all those in when you can put things into the ground come springtime.
Keystone boundary signs?
Yeah.
Has there been any thought about
Okay.
those variable message boards that also have that speed functionality?
There's one out this morning or yesterday.
I'm not a big fan of those big orange variable message boards.
Breckenridge is tiny ones.
I know, and I'm much more a fan of signs that show like speed limit 20 miles an hour and underneath your speed and something like that.
The reason I broached this idea is I wonder as we, my understanding is those signs, while I agree, they're probably better long-term, they're expensive. So if we are looking for a short-term start, right, that those variable message boards might be
They're way cheaper
Okay.
than the big orange trailer variable message boards, so. And that's from experience, so.
Thank you.
And I've already talked to the chief, who's still here. And when we have our police discussion next week, we are going to talk about the Avis speed enforcement on Highway 6 especially. So, and we're working on our median plan so we can figure out what the heck we're going to do there. This is going to be eventually a lengthy and expensive solution to do anything about the medians.
Since you're talking about Avis for speed enforcement on 6, can we add sound camera Avis to that discussion? Can't see chief, but I can.
Nodded. Our town clerk wanted me to let you know petitions are due January 26th at 5 p.m. If you are interested in running in the April 7th election to town council. Good food, and we're going to talk about pay raises later.
How many petitions have been picked up so far?
4. And that's how many seats we have. So community development director, getting set for the building season. And one big thing here, speaking of signs, we were awarded a CU grad student capstone project to do a wayfinding program for our community. So that's another nice, as we've seen from Jess, it's sometimes nice to get these grad students up here helping us figure out how to do things. Sometimes they stick around.
It's super nice.
Yeah.
But who writes the scope of the work? Is it Jess or the student? Or do they do that together?
Technically, it's a
So we get what
student's,
we need.
it's a student's project, but they'll be working closely with Jess too.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned signs. What's the status of getting town signs put on Highway 6?
You know, CDOT has been telling us for the last year that they have been posting those. And they've been telling us since the day after we got our noise ordinance that they put up a noise ordinance sign. They haven't done that. We call, they say, oh, we'll get on it and do it. They haven't done it. I think at the cost of signs, this is well worth us as a town just saying, okay.
Can we do that? Like, is
Yeah.
anything stopping you from going out there?
Well, I will not.
Understood.
Yeah, I wouldn't go put up a gorilla sign without letting.
But when I asked about the Keystone border signs a few minutes ago, you said that, yes, that's part of what's happening here. So I didn't understand.
Through us.
Say what?
It's happening through us as opposed to CDOT, who it has said it's. CDOT told us a year ago they were going to put up the border signs. And they've told us 10 times since then they were going to put up the border signs. I'm moving forward and saying we're going to tell CDOT we'll put up the border signs because they're not doing it. You know, or we can keep waiting and keep calling and keep asking. And
Clearly, that's not a solution.
yeah, so that's why.
So they don't have any kind of ombudsman or someplace you can call to say, hey, what up, 2 years?
I don't even need to, I'm going to the top, but it's, you know, it's CDOT. They lost $140 million this year out of the budget that they were expecting. They're way understaffed. And granted, we're a priority on their list to get done, but apparently our border signs are not a high priority. They are a much higher priority for us than they are for CDOT.
Weak excuse, but thank you for the background.
Well, it's the only excuse. I mean, it's not an excuse.
I don't mean from you, I mean from them.
Cleanup day is set for May 30th this year. And kind of as a follow-up to that, last year we celebrated Town and Corporation Day with an open house here. Would you like to do that again, Council?
So is your question basically, are we going to memorialize?
Are we going to create Keystone Day?
Oh, that's a different question, because that's a good opportunity to do that. Community centering.
Showing progress, community involvement,
Get together to celebrate.
have some cake.
However, that's February.
Yes, that's coming up, so.
I don't mean so much that, but it's harder to celebrate in winter. Oh, except it's spring here.
So is there interest in doing another reception for the?
I would be supportive of it as long as it's not like, what's the word, like forced, right? If there's actually stuff to do, actually stuff to talk about, actually stuff to celebrate, actually ways to engage the community, awesome. But if it's just checking a box that we're doing Incorporation Day, then yeah.
Well, last year I think we had cake and beer and soda and some signs of, oh, no, we didn't have beer. Oh, well, that was trouble.
It kind of begs the question, does it have to be, can we have a Keystone Day that's not associated with that specific date in February? Or
You guys,
I'd like us to start having some sort of events. Is in the afternoon session in the middle of February.
What you're really saying is, should we plan on having some event in the summer?
maybe our annual
Say.
Keystone Town picnic,
Yeah.
not necessarily associated with the incorporation.
Like that.
That's easier on staff.
Oh, good.
Jane's hosting.
Okay.
Yeah, my house.
Building around the trail.
Let's see, finance, we have a whole lot of stuff. Our November sales tax was up quite a bit. We're still waiting on December. On the year, it looks like our sales tax is going to be a little below budget, but that's because of my mistake in January when I presented the budget in 2024. I overestimated what we were supposed to take in January. Our lodging tax looks like it'll be up on the year. So that's a better indicator of how our year's performance was. We've got the audit scheduled. We have our in-house, the Cassell accounting software is up and running starting February 1st. Short-term rentals will be able to file and pay directly through a Cassell module, which should make things just much easier for everyone involved there. Like he's been doing a lot of work. Destination blueprint, we just got our final scope of work for our 100 consulting hours. So that'll be starting here next week. Our consultants will start putting marketing programs together for us. Oh, yes. Housing, the housing, Summit County Housing Authority is having their board retreat next week. I'm the board president for the coming year. So we've got that going for us. And we met with the new director of housing for DOLA a week or two ago. All the county leaders met with him in city and county, all the Summit County appointed leaders met with him and let him know exactly what our concerns were with the way Front Range, with the way state government has been treating resort communities on housing and the problems that we've encountered as a result of that. He seemed very receptive to it. I-70 is still I-70. We had the I-70 coalition meeting. There was Floyd Hill's going to be a long project still. It's going to be worth it when it's done. It looks like next year a group of asphalt and road contractors are pushing a constitutional amendment to require all monies raised in association with roads, that includes things like sales tax on vehicles, be devoted strictly to asphalt construction, basically. And they claim it's without raising taxes, it's going to raise $700 to $900 million a year for asphalt road construction. That means other parts of the local and state budgets are somehow going to lose 700 to 900 million a year. But just so you know, those are out getting signatures right now. The ballot titles have been approved. They presented the I-70 coalition and will come back and ask for our endorsement. In the future, I doubt the I-70 coalition will endorse these constitutional amendments.
That would mean that I-70 improvements that have concrete could not be funded with those dollars.
Well, possibly they could be. But it's all strictly roads, not sidewalks, not rail, not any sort of ancillary projects that might lessen congestion on roads. So, and it's locking into the Constitution, which is a very difficult thing for me to swallow, at least. I have IMTPR meetings and Mountain Energy, the intervention we participate with in Excel. We meet monthly, so we do have a large say in how those monies are being spent and how the rebates are, what's going to be eligible for rebates and refunds from Excel. And that's a good thing for our citizens. The council retreat, which we have scheduled for next Wednesday, I will. Thursday?
I believe it's 21st.
21st.
Oh, yes. All right, I thought Thursday was the 21st.
You threw me there. Next Wednesday, the 21st at 1 o'clock. I'll be sending out a draft agenda to everyone tomorrow. We're going to be holding it at the Dillon Town Hall at their fishbowl up in the town council chambers. If you haven't been there, you will absolutely know what the fishbowl is the second you walk in there. Dillon is not charging us to use this facility. As Nathan said, you're our partners, so.
How long does it go?
What do you say? 5 o'clock.
1 to 5.
12 or what?
That was one.
1.
Is it 1?
Yep.
1 to 5. 4 hours.
Town hall will be closed next Monday. It's Martin Luther King Day. I think your passes, are passes restricted? Does anyone? Okay. So sounds like Saturday passes are restricted. Coming up, National Brotherhood of Skiers will be back here at the end of next month, since we gave them a key to the city.
That was it.
Last year. Gabby's worked really hard and we're giving them a lift ticket to the city.
A gold lift ticket.
Golden lift ticket to the city. which I thought.
Which I hope is less than a rail lift ticket.
Yeah. It actually probably is.
Number.
But I thought that was kind of cute. Keystone has all sorts of events happening, coming up. Fire and Ice is coming up real soon, which I've gone to their food and liquor pairing, food and wine pairing. That's what this is. And, they have the same caterer for this event that I went to for my wine pairing last year. Should be spectacular. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening at Warren Station. Winter Bluegrass weekend is January 30th and 31st. And that's all I have for my manager's report.
Quick comment, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
If there's anything that we can do as a council to be involved in NBS, I know that they are very receptive to community involvement and support. So if there's any opportunities to be involved or to support that organization.
We'll ask the question tomorrow. That was on our list to discuss with Shannon. Last year it was limited to me. I would love to expand that out. I know there's some events that you could sign up for that they would charge you for. But there are other things like the gospel music, the gospel Sunday morning gospel session, things like that we could show up for. I attended that last year.
You attended the sneaker dance too, I believe.
No, I didn't. Although I could have. We can explore that, and in fact, I know the president of NBS. In fact, I'll send him an email and ask him if there's any way council members have expressed interest in what would he envision a role could be for us.
Not that we want to crash events, but we'd like to meet some of these folks.
Yeah.
They're welcome.
Yeah. Absolutely.
This is a large group that we showed them welcome last year, and it results in another 3,000 people coming just for this week, let alone all the other ski trips throughout the winter that.
And this is the first time they've ever had back-to-back repeat at a location.
Let's make sure they're not unhappy. They didn't know that.
Anything else? Oh, on the retreat of our facilitator is coming from the Keystone Center. We've met with him last week, and that agenda, as John said, is coming out shortly, and we'll get it out to the council.
Feedback taken from last retreat.
It's a totally different retreat. It's totally different.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
John, I'm sure I'm not the only one that gets questions about what roads we plow and what roads we maintain. And my knee-jerk response is always to say, oh, well, you can find all that on the website. You can't right now. Can you tell us what's up?
Yes, you will be able to find it on the website within days.
Days,
Yes.
okay.
We just want to make sure before we put out the map that it's accurate.
And can I confirm that we are not paying for the plowing of power line parking?
Okay.
Yeah,
So
this
there-
needs to be
so-
clarified.
The contract with Vail Resorts shows it has an attachment to it. And if you read the contract, you understand that this attachment does not show the roads that are being plowed under the contract. They show all the roads that Vail Resort plows,
Regardless of who's paying for it.
regardless of whose road it is and who's paying for it, in the priority, so that if you live on X road and you see the snow plow out in power line, you know that this power line was a priority for Vail Resorts. They're getting to their parking lot before they get to your cul-de-sac off of Soda Ridge. And so we do not pay for any of the parking lots.
Just saying this real loud.
Yep.
We don't pay for the power line plowing. We do not pay for the Montezuma parking, right?
We do not pay for a single parking.
Okay. Thank you.
And to also be clear, we do pay for Gondola Road.
Yeah.
We pay for Montezuma Road, we pay for all of Independence
Yeah,
Road,
it's
and
unquestioned.
for Independence Lane. Well, that is a question.
But there's confusion just because the map showed all the roads that that plow truck is hitting.
But that's not our map. That's the contractor's map.
That's the contractor's.
Right, got it. So all the more reason, let's get ours up, right?
Yep.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right. Now we're into report of mayor and council. Does council members have anything to report?
Well, get real quickly.
It'll be a short one.
That was our little coffee with council. It was more.
First week of January, we did it,
Besides Carol and myself, we had one other person.
which
So,
made it worthwhile.
but it was a great conversation and I mean, while it was not attended well, I do think it's valuable. We reference it a lot. People like it when they do come up.
I think it was a tough time.
Yeah.
Sure. So, but we're confirming our interest, so it's good.
Anything else?
No.
Do you have anything on the post office to update?
Well, I
us?
was gonna, well, Colorado is one of the 5 states that the federal government has withdrawn some money for some childcare programs. Knee-jerk reaction to Minnesota. You know, my visits, my understanding with how we manage it is very different than what Minnesota did. I mean, parents have to check in every time, check out every time. So I think that, you know, we will do our due diligence as a state and get that money, federal money back. But just, it will cause some angst amongst childcare centers because a lot of the money goes directly to them, representing by individual children. But I just wanted to bring that out to your attention.
And if I can weigh in on this, we did talk about this at mayors and managers. And the county is confident that we can make it through whatever we're going to be.
Right.
And I believe also a federal judge has stayed the pause of those funds.
The team didn't know that.
And I think there's a couple of other lawsuits that are pending on that same issue.
But you're satisfied for now?
Oh, yeah.
You had some
Well,
concerns?
at least certainly with the stuff that the county that we manage.
Yes.
It's, I haven't audited, I haven't gone out to, with my video camera. But the systems in place are very robust and I'm pretty confident that there'll be no challenges here in our county.
Good, thank you.
Any other reports? All right, I have one coming out of the mayor manager's meeting on the school district consolidation study. The committee recommendations to the board are going to go in at the end of March. And then the board will make a decision. The board president was very adamant that they're getting a recommendation, but that isn't necessarily what they are going to do. And they are, as we had that discussion, I think, opened the aperture for the superintendent and as well as the board president to ensure they're considering more than just the numbers in the schools, that they're also going to be considering the financial impacts of not just community impact, but the financial impact, so that when you're considering things like deferred maintenance, that will weigh into that decision process as well from a board perspective. There's another option, there's one of the options out there that is probably one of the leading candidates that will happen that doesn't involve Summit Cove. But my suspicion is there will be more than just one option selected. One of the discussions that we had was, could you look at, for a school like Summit Cove, could you look at other uses for that school as well to allow it to stay open, like childcare? And I think the superintendent at least was open to looking at those sort of things. I did acknowledge that some of my comments were not in my backyard, but we got them. And I think all of the mayors were in that same vote. Really wanted to look, understand, and wanted to make sure the aperture was open and they were looking at all options. They're also going to be, they may be looking at middle school enrollments, because that was one of the discussions as well. They may want to consider that. In other words, right now, middle school is what, 6 to 8 or 5 to 8? 5 to 8?
Living in elementary.
6 to 8.
6 to 8.
It's 6 to 8. And they were looking that perhaps they could move some of those kids down into elementary, keep them in elementary longer. Or go the other way if it involved a different mix of schools. So there's a lot of things that are going to be considered and in play. They expect in the next couple of years an additional drop of 100 to 200 students in the district. It's a state decline. It's also a decline in our community as well. So the closure issue is a very real issue, and they have to figure out how to handle it. Just for information, the enrollment at Summit Cove is down to 163 students. The break even based on the state dollars that we get for them is 209. And that's one of the things that they're being driven with. But I don't think those numbers per se are going to play. They're also concerned about what's the optimum size of a school to be able to provide services. And the superintendent said that was somewhere, between 300 and 400, I believe is the number. None of the schools at Summit are that large. A lot of things are going to play in this. It's very premature right now as they're putting stuff together, and the board is very interested in getting feedback as recommendations start coming in.
And if I may weigh in on this, the board was quite a bit myopic on several things too, just during this discussion. We heard how Summit Cove is attractive because it can happen now and they can distribute the students to the other schools. The concept of making a kid in Breckenridge go to Frisco or Summit Cove or Silverthorne or Dillon Valley never entered their minds. Never entered their minds that something like that could happen just as easily as making a kid from Summit Cove or Frisco somewhere else.
I heard some stories from inside the planning committee where someone said, well, when we're making these recommendations, should we consider the long-term budget effects? And someone said, no, we don't want to pollute the best choice by thinking about money until the end. I'm like, talk about putting the cart before the horse.
Well, at our meeting, I think the board pretty much disabused that view that the finance piece is going to play.
Yeah, the finance, I think, is going to drive the decision, which.
Mr. Mayor, quick recap. You said that they anticipate losing 100 to 200 students.
In the next several years.
Several years, I didn't get that.
Did you point out that there might be some growth in the Summit County Elementary catchment due to Kindred generating 150 new year-round jobs?
where are they staying?
Yeah.
Well, there's housing there.
There's all sorts of issues, and a big part that's driving our demographics are being driven down. But a big part of it has occurred over the last 2 years with a lot of our foreign workers and such, whether we're here completely legally or not, leaving.
Point of information, I guess, just from my awareness or understanding, we talked about, well, not we, but you talked about how at the end of the day, the board's going to be making a decision. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Is board membership broken up by certain areas of the county, like the county commissioners? Do we have an idea of where the current resident? What I'm trying to get at is it's probably going to be easier for a board member to close a school that they don't have in their backyard. So do we have a sense of where the heavy presence of board seats may be?
I don't have a sense of where the board members are. I do know that one of the board members, Julie Shapiro, works in the Keystone Center.
Okay.
Whitney Warner was just elected and she is in Summit Grove with 2 children there. It's interesting that I've never heard Dillon Valley be on the chopping block. And I've heard rumor that one of the board members lives in Dillon Valley, so it seems to be potentially isolated because of that.
No, we talked about Dillon Valley.
Okay.
That's surprising. That wasn't on the original briefing. If you all may not have seen it because it was the holiday season, but I did write a briefing that I sent out to the council in mid-December based on a copy of a report that I got from the planning group. And I forwarded this to you. But it discusses the proposed closures, so perhaps they're opening their minds to some other options which might be beneficial.
I think the mayors and commissioners, and I think we made it clear that they need to look at all options on this. And I agree with you. Dillon Valley is one of our oldest schools. It seems to be costing us millions in maintenance emergencies every year. It is home to a large elementary age population, Dillon Valley, but
It's the most bilingual school as I remember it.
Yeah. but it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be considered.
In fact, the maintenance issues was mentioned at the meeting.
Well, down, it's going to be a hard decision no matter where it happens, as long as I think, and I do believe the mayor and manager especially are advocating for what's best for our community and ensuring it's a fair and equitable process. Again, regardless of where this impact happens, it's going to be tough. And again, as long as we have concrete representation, which I do believe we have.
And we've been stressing another aspect that probably more with Summit Cove, definitely more with Summit Cove Elementary than with any other schools is, for all intents and purposes, that's the only playground on this entire side of the country.
County.
Kingdom of the kingdom, you know. But if they shut that down, just to go, Summit Cove Elementary has students at it all day long, all weekend long, all year long. It's not just used by students during the school days.
Given all this, and given Aaron's encouragement of us last time around, I tried to get online and I wouldn't accept it if I couldn't point to having a kid in school. So that was a little bit frustrating. So my question is, do we want to write a letter to the board with a sense of the town council pointing out some of these? We've done it before.
Is it the right time?
Or do we wait till, I mean, I don't think we need to influence the committee as much as we need to influence the board.
I don't think Carol
I
can say
meant
right
the
now.
board.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, no, I know, but
I think sometimes it's good to get that message before they see everything else. Yeah, but regardless of timing, are we interested in doing something to express the interest of the town, the sense of the town council on behalf of our constituents.
Let's send one now and one later.
I believe we should.
I can have such a meeting. I think Councilmember Parmet got it.
Yeah, I
Why
think.
not send one now and then send one if we need to
Let's do that.
Reiterate.
actually.
I'd be happy to work with you on that.
Move on.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So who's taking the lead to draft it?
Earl and
I'll be happy to help you.
Yeah, I'll get with you, Aaron.
Why don't you two get together and then take the product to John?
You bet.
Mind if I make a comment?
Go ahead.
There is one more master planning meeting coming up that wasn't on the original agenda. It's the magic day, January 21st. It seems to be when all the events are. But that, I believe they're going to be reviewing the results that they got from the survey. It's not a meeting that's open to public comment, but you can go to listen.
You know the timing of that?
6 p.m. at Upper Blue, 6 to 8.
At one of the schools, they're absolutely not considering closing.
We just discussed our meeting. Why couldn't we post it on the post?
All right, next topic, glass recycling. It looks like glass recycling in the single stream is being brought back.
All right.
Yeah. And we'll be hearing more about that later. There were some discussions about what were the cost impacts and that, but it sounded from the BOCC rep that it was pretty much a done deal. They were going to bring it back. And just local interest note, there were 2 wolves sighted in Silverthorne and photographed.
Ooh, interesting.
If you get a flat tire.
But it's only 2, so normally you take more. And that's all I have.
Why did you not you said that?
Mr. Mayor, the glass recycling update would be communicated once that's officially implemented.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
It'll probably come out through the waste management companies,
It
right?
will, it'll come out from the county because it's scrap that's doing it. It's going to allow it.
But it's going to be single stream recycling through our current systems, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have to work with the carriers
Yeah.
and make sure it's
Take a
even
bit.
truly practical. Weight is a big issue.
Yeah.
And then how does it fit with pay as you throw and all that kind of stuff? That's all I have. The next item is other matters, and we deferred an item regarding potential council pay increases for other matters. And at this point, I'd like to turn it over to the town manager to give us an introduction and talk about it.
Okay, so compensation for our board has been set in the town charter. But it allows the board to adjust that compensation by ordinance, or allows council to change that compensation. It's set at $1,000 a month for the mayor and $500 for council members. Since the charter went into effect, the CPI, the cost of living, basically, based on the Denver Lakewood CPI, has gone up approximately 5.2%. So that actually represents a pay cut for council members who've been on the board since the beginning. Staff thinks, we feel the stipend for council members is very important because it encourages people who might have financial difficulty putting in the time. They might need daycare, they might work. It allows them to be actively involved in our community despite that. It might offset their daycare costs while they're at meetings or reading the packets and such. So staff absolutely is a fan of the stipends, and we think it's important that we keep the stipends in line with what the people actually wanted originally when they passed the charter, which was that much money, but adjusted so it stays that much purchasing power, that much value to the people who do it. Interestingly, as I was putting this out, a manager listserv went out asking how much each communities paid their mayors and council members. So that's where all that list came in last Thursday. So that's where that list is. And as you look at it, you can see the pay is all over the place. But one thing you'll see on things like Basalt or Boulder, pay for a mayor in Basalt is $1,562.50 a year. That's because they have.
Per month.
Or per month, I'm sorry. That's because they have adopted cost of living increases. So we're proposing that we bring an ordinance to you allowing the pay to automatically be adjusted every year for the mayor and the council based on September of that year's CPI for the Denver Lakewood area, which is not perfect, but the best option we have to measure inflation at this. I guess two questions. First of all, none of this would apply to you unless you get reelected to the council at a future election. So I guess two questions. Do you want us to bring something forward like that? Do you want it to, when we bring the ordinance, to be adjusted regardless, up or down based on the September CPI? It doesn't go down very often. When it does go down, I think the last time a seasonal CPI went down was 2020, and it was 0.1% during COVID from the previous year. So it doesn't go down very much, but I guess those are the two questions. Do we want to go forward with this at all? We need to go forward with it now if we want to be in effect for the people elected at our next election.
Member Hagan.
Thank you. I wholly support the objective of this. I just want to 100% be on the record, right? Like, as a working person in this community, you know, there is definitely a cost of me being here versus me pursuing career opportunities, right? Or other things, right? I work 60 hours a week, 40 hours a week. And you know, it's not allowing me to do other things I would like to do, right? And I'm pretty sure other people that work full-time would probably agree with that sentiment. I do wonder, right? And I appreciate the list here. Frisco, Silverthorne, Dillon, like, I understand it's not on this list, but informally, when I've talked to some of the other communities around here that aren't Breckenridge, like what their rates are for this, because I think that that'd be a good, you know, I'm not saying we should match it by any means, right? But I think it's a good perspective as we make this decision. And I would like to go on the record as saying that I'd like free parking in the gondola parking lot as well, similar to how Lone Tree has free parking at the mall parking. But
we can do that for you, just like Lone Tree does.
That was your wish for the day.
And as far as the up or down, you know, I think it's only fair that if we reap the rewards of an increase with CPI, we'd also potentially look at a decrease in that compensation if the CPI goes down. Maybe we add a review on there so that we could approve that, so it's not an automatic thing, because COVID was a very sensitive time. But my other comment is, Mr. Mayor or Manager, you mentioned every year. My understanding of this would have to be every 2 years. Well, how do we vote on an ordinance that would increase our pay every year?
No, you don't. You vote one time and it automatically goes into effect.
Perfect.
Every year.
I like every year then.
I would recommend that if we were to do this, there's two things. One, we need to figure out what the base is, what the base really is in today's market. that's
So potentially adjust that base up to be.
potentially adjusted up. At a minimum, that base should be 5.28% higher than we started with if we are going to adopt this, because the 2024 number, inflation's gone up 5.28%. The base ought to now be 5.28% higher plus the inflation. Otherwise, we're 5.2% below where we started.
And then, well, that would pretty much get us, and I'll double check, we didn't have I think we have the September numbers. I'll get it to that, but our next adjustment won't take place until 2027. So that 5 point whatever would be our 2026.
I think council listening to understand, we're dealing Silverthorne and Frisco are today because as one who was involved in setting that initial level, we kind of baseline based on what the other communities were doing. And I know the other communities since then have had, some of them had some significant increases.
I'll get those numbers at the ordinance time too.
So quickly looking online, what I've found briefly is Frisco's at $750 for council, $1,250 for mayor. Silverthorne is $750 and $300 with proposals in the process for raising it to $1,000 and $500. And Dillon is $750 for council and $1,400 for mayor.
I didn't understand your second one.
Silverthorne's in the process of potentially increasing it.
To,
1,000 and 500. So
500 for
council.
what is it now?
It says 300. But that was very loose.
Yeah, this is the interwebs, not.
Yes, not official, just loose search.
So I'll have those firm numbers for you when we bring the ordinance for consideration.
Would council like to give direction to go ahead and draft an ordinance?
Is there any consideration or issues that anyone sees? I know that like raising our own pay is a touchy subject.
I don't think it's an issue because the voters will decide whether we actually get the pay increase, because you don't get it till you're elected.
Yeah.
I'm stuck with what we're at for 3 more years or 2 more years or whatever.
Got too many votes. You were too
No.
popular.
That'll learn you.
And for those of you who are running for election this year, you're the ones that are going to get impacted.
But
We need a lot more applicants before that can happen.
after 4 years, it would automatically adjust to the same as everyone else.
Yeah.
Not,
So the argument could be made that you're even lagging behind that CPI by being 4 years behind.
You're getting your campaign speech ready.
Let me get that stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, is that okay?
Yep.
We got your guidance. And
Got a question.
yes,
Other matter. One of the participants in the, I always get it mixed up, Destination Blueprint Tourism Stakeholder Meeting in December was the president of our local historical society. This is a close potential partnership we will have with them. And they may not be located in the town, but they have certainly been working with town, with Kindred, with others. I propose that the town of Keystone signal its respect for and partnership with the Summit County Historical Society by becoming a bronze level government member for $250 for the year.
I would be in support of that simply due to the amount of history, and the only way we history is by understanding it and preserving it. And 250 is a very small amount of money.
It is.
and if I may weigh in, I have been really pushing the idea to help just increase the feeling of who we are as Keystone, of putting like historical signage along the community pathway.
Our wayfinding signs can be really,
Yeah, and which would require a lot of cooperation from.
Question for you. Aren't we trying to consolidate these kind of things though? And under the
no,
summit?
this isn't a gift. This would be a
Membership.
membership. It's a different line item. I understand your
Okay.
point because that's one of my key things.
It's really a gift.
I guess, will they be going to the Summit Foundation for money as well?
I don't know. I don't.
I'm just trying
I'm
to
not considered.
do it in.
Probably, I don't know, find out from the summit.
I would be proposing that we also become members or partners with what's the science school, except that their process is completely different and expensive. It seems like a small token of partnership.
Bring that up, for consistency,
Yeah,
persist,
I'm
because
not-
we did talk about that.
Yeah, I'm concerned consistency. The
Consistency with what? Sorry.
the donation
To the
issue,
So
It's a foundation.
because
we are members of other agencies and authorities and partnerships that have mutual benefit. I think of it more in that line. Regardless of how.
I think our grant program is going to come into effect this fall. So I don't necessarily see an issue with a membership this year. You know,
And reconsider whether we want to.
and reconsider.
you can make an argument that with the partnership that we want with the Wayfair signage, that a membership is beneficial. Long-term, I would have concerns with it because it is significantly different than Colorado Municipal League. It's different from Colorado Association of Ski Towns, which are the two,
I agree.
and Northwest Cog. Those are all significant benefits and in many cases advocacy for the town. So
Split the baby, yes, this
Yeah.
year, but reconsider next year.
yeah.
Sounds
And
fair.
then we have a
Mentor them.
program that will handle that sort of thing next year.
That's very reasonable.
Other folks?
Nope, I support that.
Support, out of curiosity, do we know what silver gold looks like? 250?
More expensive.
And they're happy to have others.
Did
As
you
I'm
want to
a,
have that?
You know, if you get reelected, you're going to have all that extra income.
Already working the fork.
it's a great group. I'm a member and I do give money.
Are you a bronze?
I'm certainly better than the tower.
I think the critical thing is they rely almost entirely on volunteers. I dare say right now entirely, so it becomes significant for their continued ability to partner with
We've
us.
agreed.
Yeah, agreed. So is that all you need to get direction to go become a bronze member? All right, is there any other business?
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, is there a motion to adjourn? Yes. That was a motion to adjourn.
That was.
Is there a second?
Will, second it?
That was a second.
That was.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we adjourn.